Hey, I'm Mike and today I'm showcasing Kinnan, Prodigy. They are a 2/2 human druid for a green and blue with whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana and 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. For 5 green and blue, we can look at the top 5 cards of our library and may put a non-human creature card onto the battlefield. We want to play mana rocks and mana dorks and get add-on mana. There's no place in the deck for land-based tramp, because Kinnan doesn't double that. Kinnan used to be the best deck in Brawl, but has taken a huge hit due to matchmaking. We can afford to play very few lands. At one point the decklist only included 33, but that contributes to us matching with only the few strongest decks. And that generally makes the gameplay not fun, playing only against Ragavan, Rusko, and Teferi. So we need to be creative and build a deck that is still good and fun to play, and gets more varied matches to make games enjoyable. This is my 4th Brawl video on this channel and I'm thrilled with how things are going. Like the video if you like it, and subscribe too. I'll be releasing new Brawl content every week. And we are in for a huge change to the meta with Modern Horizons 3. The format will be slightly different from what I do usually. I was going to present my somewhat competitive list, but with the recent leak of all the different Brawl card scores, turns out the Brawl gameplay and Brawl meta has taken a sharp downhill and it really is not fun lately. So if I were to show you my stats, the deck has been absolutely miserable to play. The win rate is atrocious and most of the time we are getting paired against decks like Ragavan and Teferi and we just cannot deal. So what I figured, let's make the deck more fun by taking away some of the maybe unfairly scored cards and replace them with alternatives that will give us better matchmaking. So, if you are not familiar, in the last weeks, the data from Magic the Gathering Arena leaked about how different cards are scored. There is a publicly accessible spreadsheet of all the different weights for cards being either in the 99 or in Commander. HB standing for Historic Brawl, SB for Standard Brawl, we are not interested in that. I'll go ahead and hide that column. For regular cards, the score ranges between 0 up to 45 in multiples of 9. And for Commanders, well, the score is nonsense if the card is not a Commander, but for Commanders it ranges from minus 360 to 1800 in increments of 360. So what I've done is I put in all the different cards in my deck as it currently is and looked up the scores for them. So what I've done is I exported my deck from Moxfield, pasted it into my spreadsheet, and for every card I looked up what score it currently has. Kinnan, of course, being one of the strongest commanders, or at least historically, maybe that's not true anymore, but here we are, has the highest weight of 1800 and the rest of the cards is down below. The current weight that matchmaking is currently giving us is 3400, and let's see if we can replace some of these cards to get deck matchmaking weight to be lower so that we can get more favorable matchups. Let's see what the most scored cards on the list are. Let's set this as the header and let's sort our spreadsheet. Let's create a filter and we want values that 45 and more. Well, 45 really, right? Alright, so we are looking at these cards. Alright, so let's look for cards that are alternatives to this. We'll open Scryfall, get cards that are legal in Historic Brawl. We want green and blue cards at best, or less. Let's start with the counter spell. Annual, not a good card. Dispel, not great. Minor Misstep, too narrow. Storm Tamer we are already playing. Phantom Interference, we could get 3 steps ahead into the deck. Well, 3 steps ahead have a score of 36, which means that we would get our matchmaking score slightly lower. Is that good enough? Probably not, to be honest. It is an option. Let's see if we can get something better, I guess. Scalding, borderline unplayable. Syncopate is not too bad and we have a lot of mana. We are definitely not playing that yet. Syncopate, just a 9. So honestly, pretty good replacement there. People save a lot of weight there. And we are looking for one more counter spell. We are playing Wash Away already. Too narrow. Either Ghost, Censor, probably also not really playable. Denial is non-creature, and the fight spell we don't necessarily need, but let's see. Denial, decisive denial, also 9 points. Oh, it's definitely interesting, right? Now we are looking for a replacement for some of the creatures, so we want the same filter, we want type creature, we want type that is not human, because obviously Kinnan cannot spin into humans, and let's sort by EDH rank. You can get some good recommendations there. You should also be looking at high mana value, so let's say we are looking for spells that are at least a mana value of 5. Hullbreaker, pretty great, we already played it of course. Greater Hoof is what we are trying to replace. Mulldrifter is alright, let's see what the rank on Mulldrifter is. 36, not too bad, we can probably find something slightly better. Tatuva doesn't really work with Kinnan. Meteor Golem will have almost certainly a high score, but let's try Meteor Golem. Oh, it's just a 9. It's an option. Gnawbone is incredible, and it's only at 9, so yeah, definitely let's include Gnawbone. It creates a treasures with then Kinnan. With Kinnan we can double that, so that's amazing. One coil we already know is not a good option. Acidic Slime will probably have a fairly high score. Let's see. It does not. Alright, Acidic Slime it is then. What else? Engine we know. Vorinclex, we are already playing Vorinclex, so we should be fine. Wandering Archaic, it's also 9 points. Yeah. Kogla as a removal for enchantments and creatures. Nezahal Primal Dite. Let's see. This Primal Dite. Titan of Industry, Ancient Green Warden. Kogla we already know. Defiler. We don't care about lands. Defiler is fine. So Pandrel is potentially as good as Crater Hoof. How many points will Zopandrel cost? Also just 9 points. Alright, well, great include then. That's literally a replacement for the Crater Hoof. And Wormcoil Engine could be anything really. Thought Monitor, draws, it's an artifact. Could play it. Let's see. Thought Monitor. It's at 36 points. Maybe we can do something better. Orange Green, 27. It's fine, but if we can find that is just as good of a win con and doesn't cost that many matchmaking points, why shouldn't we get something better? The Triad is alright, Vorinclex, Waste of Hunger is incredible, but I'm fairly sure that'll be a very high matchmaking score. Just 36, but still, we can definitely do better. Potential does nothing. Shivan Dragon Sun, but we are not tapping artifacts for it. Gold Colossus, this is all okay. Nothing that just screams play us. Emote, let's see how much will Emote cost us. 27. And if we spin into Emote, we can then cascade into something else. We cannot. Cascade says that it would have to be cast, so Emote is our good choice. Kura does not really work very well for us. Vorinclex is decent. Hydra, we are not playing that many lands. Trick, Mind Flayer we already play. Yeah, okay, let's just play the Meteor Golem then. At 9 points, that's incredible. Alright, so we are looking for replacement for the Weaver, so mana value at most 5. Not a human. Paradise Druid is in the deck. Carrot almost certainly is as well. Morale of Pixie is not very good because we can't cast it with Kinnan on turn 2 from some kind of a rock or a different Mandark because of the 2 different colors. Metalman is great, but we already played that. Leafkin Druid is alright. We could play the Scrap Gorger. Let's see how many points Scrap Gorger cost us. 10 points, excellent. Alright, so easy replacement, incidental, graveyard hate, add fewer matchmaking points, very good. And Brainstorm, that's kind of a wild card. We can play kind of anything. In fact, we are playing very few lands. The deck is currently at 33 lands only. So, you know what? Let's just say we will play an island instead. That has a weight of 0. And we are saving, so far, 378 points. Let's see what else we can do. Let's look at all the 36s. We can replace these 3 cards. Fairy Mastermind could be a mana dork, could be some kind of a draw. Let's get our 45s in as well. So let's see, are we playing Ristic Dite? Ristic Dite is just 9 points. That's ridiculous. Let's double check that. It is 9 points. Okay, well, in that case, Ristic Dite, great replacement for the Fairy Mastermind. Ristic Dite is tricky, right? Because we cannot spin into it with Kinnan, and it's an enchantment we could have used with the Beaver, the creature that adds extra mana for each enchantment. So maybe Heuristic Study is not a great choice. Also, we are trying to be slightly faster and more aggressive. Maybe Heuristic Study is not the way to go. Let's put it in the backlog for now. What else could we play? Chaser. We will not be pointing any spells we own on the Chaser, so that's not a great choice either. Gretchen. Gretchen is not playable because we don't have enough lands. Goldberry is too much. Spirits. Spirit is snow, we cannot include that in our deck. Porculus, we are not playing Defenders, that's not an option. Anything else in the list? Not really. What if we look at mana value 3? Grazilex is interesting. Let's see what score Grazilex has. 18. Well, it's an improvement over the 36. Thrilled Mistake is a counter spell on a stick. It's interesting, but we are feeling pretty bad if we spin into it, and we don't have anything to counter. And spinning Kinnan just in hope to get this as a counter spell is also a bit silly. So what we are looking for is really any creature that we can spin into, right? Let's see. Let's just look at everything again. All the good stuff. We are not casting, well, we are casting some, but many we are spinning into, so Beast Whisperer are not a great option for us. Again, not enough lands, so Provisioner and Skid Swarm not really an option. Ornithopter we already play. Toracle doesn't really make sense with how getting rid of our library. Spark Doubles alright. Roaming Throne, we are not really triggering too many stuff and abilities on ETB. Phyrexian Metamorph is amazing. Are we playing Phyrexian Metamorph? Of course we are. So there is that. Toski is very good. We are already playing Tiang. Pretty sure. Yes, Musky right here in the list. Did we include Muldrifter before? Muldrifter? Oh, Muldrifter is at 36, so that would not be an improvement. Alright. Volker is really not suitable. We are not playing a creature type. If anything, we are playing an anti-creature type. Displacer Kitten is great fun, but we don't really have anything that we want to bounce, and we don't have that many spells. Talrand, again, we don't play that many spells. The Meteor Golem, we already include. We did include it, yes. It's right here, okay. Something else then. We are not sacrificing our lands, that's further thinning our deck, so that's probably not what we want. Scrap Trawler and Lady Mirror. It would be interesting, but no. Kodama. We are not great at modifying other creatures, so perhaps not. Graphics. No. The Familiar doesn't do anything, but we already discussed. Green Warden, again, a land. We don't care about any of that. Defiler, Deep Dwelling, thus we are not great ETBs, so that's probably wasted on us. Topiary Emperor could help us fix our mana from time to time. Let's 36 points as well. Okay, not a great option then. We don't need it. Calgrators, 27 points. It's a good card, but we don't need it. Ashara is interesting. I expect Ashara to have a very high score, but she's at 18, which is half of the score we are replacing. Alright, might as well do it. That doesn't work. Kinnan says non-land, so yeah, Ashaya is very much a non-boy with Kinnan. Alright, no Ashaya, and something else. Thought Monitor we already discussed. World Shaper, we are not likely to spin into too many of them. Invasion, I'm pretty sure we are playing the Invasion already. Oh, we are not. Nice. We could do then. Okay. Invasion of Korea. Excellent, it's at 9 points. It's a tutor for anything we want. Good choice. And we are also replacing Swan Song. So again, we look counter spell with mana value, let's say less than 2. Narset's Reversal is kind of cheeky. Let's see what score Narset's Reversal has. 18 points. Alright, good option. It is less than what we had before. Again, the Iron Crag just has to stay. Thorn Mammoth. Thorn Mammoth is fine. It's a good top end. Let's see. I'll make it orange. Something to consider, but so far, let's not replace it. Maybe these should be... Let's make them purple, unless something that will stay. Let's also look at... this point, let's look at everything. Bramble Familiar. We only use it as a mana dork, and we almost never spin into anything else. So let's look mana dorks with mana value at most 2 that are not human. We already play all of these. Ink Druid, it doesn't fix our mana, which is a big issue, but it would be in consideration. Let's try Incubation Druid. Our Incubation Druid is 36, that's not better than. We are not wanting to play that, and we do not want to, because it's alright, kind of slow. Only Gilded Goose is not great. It only gives us the mana one time, and then we would have to tap it again for the food, and then tap for mana next turn. It's If we can get something better, I would prefer it. The Sliver is literally just a 2 mana 1/1 that produces mana. Can we get something better? We already included the Scrap Forager. Frog is strictly better for us than the Sliver because it also can gain Death Touch and can block flying creatures. So maybe we should include the Poison Dart Frog at 8 points. 8 points, sure. Great replacement. Hullbreaker Horror at just 27 points is ridiculous. Obviously staying. Atraxa at 9 is incredible. Coma at 27 is acceptable. If we get out, we not guaranteed to win, but as close to winning as we can be, so that's great at just 27. Midnight Clock at 18 is perhaps something we could replace. We are not really going to draw with it, and if it's just a 3 mana stone, maybe we can do better. Let's check the score on Cornucopia. It's just 9 points, and we can choose to play it for more mana if we have it. You know what? Let's replace it. It is better matchmaking score, and it's not necessarily worse. So let's play that. Mind Flayer at 27. This is very strong. If we spin Kinnan into Mind Flayer and get to take opponent's creature from them and have it on our side, that's pretty good for 5 mana and 27 matchmaking points. Let's keep it. Moonsnare Prototype is a Kinnan dedicated technology. It is a 1 mana tapper, and then we can also channel it, but that rarely happens in Brawl. With the Jewel, not only the Jewel comes into play tapped, but also it produces 2 mana that can only be spent to activate abilities. Then Kinnan produces 1 extra mana from it, and that could be used on anything. The Jewel, it's interesting, right? We would only use it to activate Kinnan, and we couldn't use the mana for anything else. But the 1 extra mana from it could be used. Let's see what the score is. We have the Jewel, it's just 9 points. Let's replace Moonsnare Prototype with the Jewel. Next Blue mentioned, of course, the strongest card in our deck. That kind of guarantees we win. Rex Sage at 27 is interesting, maybe we can replace it. We already play, are we playing the other one? Manglehorn, are we playing Manglehorn? We are playing Manglehorn, it is at 9. Sage is better because it can hit enchantments. Manglehorn makes artifact enter depth. That is, I think in CDH it is really not impacting MTGA or Brawl. With the Rex Sage, do we need it? Probably do not. It is a very good card. Then again, what would we replace it with? Haywire Might, non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. The non-creature part is limiting. Then again, it is just 1 mana. The Haywire Might is definitely up for consideration. Cankerbloom could be even better. Alright, let's try both. Haywire Might is at 18 points, and Canker, was it? Yeah, is at 9. Alright, let's play Cankerbloom then. Springleaf Drum, absolutely essential, has to stay. Stubborn Denial at 27. We have to look at replacing that. That is definitely unnecessary. Tail's End at 18 counters commanders, and then abilities at 18 points. Seeing how many counter spells were 45 or more. Yeah, Tail's End definitely can stay. Disha's Tidebinder at 9 points is crazy. The card is absolutely busted. It absolutely nerfs ETB commanders and planeswalkers, and we love it. We can spin into it. It's great. Tusky at 9, one of the best card draws we have in our deck, especially as it's uncounterable. It does very often. We are saving 500. We got under the 3000. 500 is probably meaningful. The difference between the top commanders is, well, Kinnan is 1800, and then the next group under that is 360 less at 1440. So by saving 500, we essentially downgraded to a cheaper commander. So definitely interesting. I'm curious to see how these changes go. We already improved our matchmaking score significantly. So what I will do next is I'll put all of these changes into Arena, and then we will get into the gameplay. Ooh, we are playing Jodah. I'm very excited. Alright, that's an excellent hand. We have Delighted Halfling as our 1-drop. We will crack the heat for a green-blue land, and then we have great 2-drops in the Caryatid and the Mindstone. Seeing the Zopandrel here is mediocre. Maybe we will get to play it, but honestly any of the high drops you want to spin into with Kinnan. So we'll see how it goes. Here we just grab the breeding pool, shook it in, cast Delighted Halfling, so that we are ready for any opponent's counter spells if they do decide to leave their mana open. Instead they play the Skyship Raider, which is fine, means that we can save our Delighted Halfling untapped and then tap it for 2 for the Mind Stone. And we don't have a land in our hand, so we will probably end up cycling the Generous End. Honestly, this is looking great. If our opponent removes Kinnan here, that would be slightly unpleasant, but we would still have enough mana to replay it and then do something else possibly. So we are in a pretty good position here. Opponent gets Skrelv and Rona out. So yeah, of course, 2 extra legendaries for their Jodah setup. We take the damage, we can unblock carry, and we cycle for a forest. We already had breeding pool on the battlefield, so forest is the only thing we can get there. We are not playing the surveil land. And yeah, Coma. Nice top deck. No point attacking into the creature. We set a stop on opponent's upkeep so that we can tap their most important land. That's probably Jetmir's Garden. We will leave Coma unprotected, but it is probably worth it to take the mana from our opponent, seeing that we are only on turn 4. They do find an extra land, and they have an Anthem effect. That's fine, we are at 19 health. Nothing bad can happen to us. And we of course still have Coma on the battlefield, so we could in theory even block. We would lose Kinnan to carry, but let's see if our opponent is going to attack. They are. Alright, in that case we just block the Drag Event token, take 3 damage, and move to our turn. Here we get another token. And yeah, let's double our power and see how our opponent deals with it. Fair enough. Yeah, that is very all they can do in that spot. Alright, GG. Ooh, next up we are playing Uro. Well, that's also a great matchup. So Uro, of course, trying to drop a lot of land, but Simic. We are also Simic. Let's see how this goes. We once again see the Delighted Halfling and a fetchland in our opening hand. That's incredible. Especially against a blue deck. Love to see that. We shock in the breeding pool, drop a Delighted Halfling, and then next turn we will probably play the Battleland. Oh, we get Mox Ember. Okay, well, that's the best card we can get with Kinnan, right? Because it taps for 2 mana. Insane value. So we need to be very careful about how we tap here. Delighted Halfling will get us the colorless, and we don't want to spend both green on the Battleland, so we need to ensure we have extra green floating so that we can play both the Stalwart as well as the Battleland. We successfully did so, and yeah, that's too good for our opponent. Can't really blame them. Ooh, rough matchup. Atraxa. Well, depends on how quickly they ramp and whether they have a removal or perhaps counterspell for our shenanigans. First hand was unplayable, the second hand also. Ooh, this hand is very risky. We don't have any islands, but if we can get the Chespera Sentinel out and the Springleaf Drum out, then we will have a blue source. So we could be in a pretty good. Oh my god, how do we get another forest there? Alright, well, we could play Kinnan, but our opponent has dangerous mana open, so they can either cut it down or counterspell it. Let's just develop our board. We play the Mana Dork, we play the drum so that we are fairly confident to have blue mana on our next turn. And yeah, our opponent did not play the Triome, so they probably have a counterspell, so we are worried. If we play Kinnan here, it'll definitely get countered, so let's just not Next turn we should have enough mana to play Kinnan twice, even if it gets countered, then we should be able to replay it for the extra 4 mana. Or we can spend our 6 mana on Cornucopia and have more mana open. That was a mistake. What we should have done is stepped the Chespera Sentinel so that we have 1 mana open from the battlement, and we in fact did get punished. We did not have the 1 mana 4 mana type, so that's brutal. If I tapped better, we probably would have the Cornucopia on the board. And yeah, we top deck Nyx Blue Mansion, so that's kind of insane. It was definitely a worry getting it countered, but if we played Kinnan, then we would have either got Kinnan countered and replayed it, or we would play Nyx Bloom afterwards, and maybe that would have been better. Opponent Turtles, they get more lands. They still have the Triome in their hand, they never played it. And yeah, we don't have too many blue sources, so we need to be careful about it. Kinnan didn't get countered here, which is wild. It means that we have everything to our disposal. Tidebinder, well, it's still better to have a 3-2 on the battlefield than declining there, so it is put on the battlefield, and we can spin again. But we need to be careful about how we get the mana. We can only get 4 blue once from the Springleaf Drum, so we add extra forests and hope to get more spins out of Kinnan. Gracilax is okay, we get the card draw from it, so pretty good draw there, or a pretty good flip. The last flip was horrendous. We are definitely afraid of seeing a board wipe here. And yeah, well, we can counter anything now. We have mana source in the Chespera Sentinel, and Nyx Blue Mansion produces extra mana, so we can counter whatever we please. Opponent probably stuck on land. Yeah, now they're shocking the land they found it with the Memory Deluge, and they concede. Alright, well, good game, Atraxa. Oh, and we are facing Rusko. That's a very difficult matchup. They are likely to counter everything we do and then kill Kinnan at every opportunity. We have a decent starting hand. We can start with the Llanowar Elves and follow up with Caryatid next turn. Maybe, if we get very lucky, we can even Mind Flay the Rusko. But yeah, let's see how the game goes. Opponent immediately kills our Llanowar Elves, and well, we draw Enigma Jewel. That doesn't do much in this spot. It enters stepped, so we instead play the Caryatid, which is summoning sick. No point playing Kinnan because it wouldn't tap for any extra mana. The Caryatid, at least, even if it dies, it's still better than having Kinnan die. And if it survives next turn, we have the extra mana with it. We are drawing spells that are not terribly useful. Let's drop to Jewel. Maybe we can get to a state where Kinnan can spin and get some good cards onto the battlefield. We could have played Kinnan there, but we have no protection for it. And opponent had open mana, so we can be patient. Here we cannot play the front side because the Jewel only taps for abilities and we don't have Kinnan out yet, so we only have 4 mana available at our disposal. So better than wasting the mana, let's play Kinnan. Next turn we can attempt to replay it if it gets countered, which is very likely. Alright, well, it didn't get countered, so I fully expect opponent to kill it. That will probably happen. Oh yeah, happens right here. Alright, it goes back into the command zone. And yeah, might as well hit the opponent. We don't have anything else going on. yeah, opponent plays Rusko, they get a clock. And if we top deck a land, maybe we can steal it. We do hit a land, well, that's fairly good luck on our side. We don't have any dual lands anymore, so we just grab an island. Opponent does not have a 1 mana counter spell at their disposal that would deal with the Mind Flayer. And yeah. Well, they tutor for a response to the Mind Flayer. They have blue open, so they probably cannot kill it. They could bounce the Mind Flayer, but then I just replay it, so they probably just bounce Rusko back to their hand. Makes perfect sense. Now our Mind Flayer is just a 3/3, but that's alright. Opponent replace Rusko, they get another clock. And, well, counterspell's nice. Land would have been even better, I suppose. Let's play Kinnan, carefully tapping, so that we have double mana from Caryatid and the Jewel if we need it. Alright, well, not a bad spot here. We can attack with the Mind Flayer. Opponent is unlikely to block with Rusko as they would just trade. We have counterspell open, and we have the Archaic as well if our opponent attempts to do anything. This place the Kitten is rough. They will just generate as much mana as they need. We had the opportunity to double block with the Caryatid and Kinnan, but I fully expected the opponent to have some kind of an instant speed spell, so they would just displace their Kitten. Maybe that was a mistake. If we blocked and opponent didn't have anything, but yeah, they had a power word kill. Opponent pays for the Wandering Archaic trigger, so we can counter the removal we need to keep Kinnan on the battlefield. Countering the removal spells is the removal spell is probably the best thing we can do that. Opponent didn't have much mana left. They will have the mana now because we countered it. So yeah, if they have more spells, they will just durdle around with Displacer Kitten and Rusko. The clock is at 10, so here we have very difficult choice. They probably have more instant speed spells so that they can protect the Kitten and Rusko. But Nake's Plume leaves us with 1 mana source, so we could only do one more thing there, and the mana doesn't spin Kinnan or anything. We could cast Coma because it's uncounterable. That might be interesting, but also it doesn't really stop opponent's strategy in any way. So we play the Thorn and attempt to get Kinnan off the battlefield, but opponent has mana drain. They get 7 mana. They pay for the Wandering Archaic trigger because we gave them the treasures. Yeah, they do, of course they do. And we can't really do much here. Might as well attack, doesn't really matter. Our hope here is opponent just takes the damage, and then next turn we get enough land to play Tyrannex Rex and hit them for lethal. It's our best shot, but yeah, this game is not looking well. Opponent gets a new 7. They have 1 mana floating, and they use it immediately to power word kill our Archaic. Yeah, they get another clock. And 1 health. So yeah, this is not looking great. This is one of the weaknesses of Kinnan. We have some counter spells, but we don't really have removal besides what we have on creatures. And once opponent is this far ahead, our only opportunity would be perhaps we don't play Cyclonic Rift in this deck list, but we have the other one, the 7 mana sorcery. And honestly, GG opponent, well done.